YouTube, man, what's going on? It's LNH back with another video, and today, man, we gotta talk about it. There are some crazy talks going around about Jalen Green, his entire game, how he moves on the court, and a lot of people are actually calling this dude somewhat cocky, believe it or not, and Brandon Boston's new and improved jump shot form. So we're gonna break that down and get right to it, as well as there was just a recent incident at an AAU event that just went insane and really broke the internet, and someone actually let off some shots. So we're gonna break it down and get right into it, man. Make sure you like the video and subscribe. Now, Jalen Green, of course, this dude has been a dog since day one of the best players in his class coming up, of course, McDonald's All-American, and yes, did his thing in the G League and even averaged just around 18 points per game, 4 rebounds per game, and 3 assists per game, which that's definitely impressive playing against grown men, people who've already pretty much been in the NBA. Now, with that being said, there are a ton of narratives going on right now about Jalen Green, and this is getting out of hand. Now, of course, Jalen Green is teaming up with Joshua Christopher, but Jalen Green has put out a number of different quotes which are really questioning people to think about Jalen Green and how he really moves on the court. Now, the first one we're going to take a look at is this: I feel like I'm the best player in the draft, but obviously Detroit didn't feel that way. I'm going to keep working. I mean, if you look back at it, all the GOATs didn't go #1. Kobe Bryant, MJ, that's the type of level I'm trying to get at. Now, a lot of people were looking at this and basically calling him a little cocky with a quote like this, and Jalen even has said multiple times that he felt he was the best player in the draft. Now, my thoughts about this: #1, you have to believe in yourself moving forward. If you're going to the draft, you're a player, you play the game of basketball, and you're not saying something like this, I really don't think this is the right sport for you. You have to be confident in your ability, and specifically Jalen Green, of course, being probably arguably the #1 player in the nation, coming out of high school, then doing this, going to the G League, which at the time, which had not been done before. I think Jalen had to have this type of mentality, and all the work that he's put in, of course, he's going to have confidence in his game, and I think you have to have this level of confidence if you're going to be playing in the game of basketball. And specifically, man, the NBA, everyone thinks they're the best, man. It could be someone riding the bench and they think they're the best on the squad, or at least they have that mindset that they want to be the best and know that they can learn from other people on their team. And I definitely think Jalen Green has a huge upside to him as well. Now, Jalen Green also said this: put me anywhere, ask me to get a bucket, and I promise I will. And I think Jalen's scoring aspect is something huge in the game of basketball, of course, and him being pretty tall, around 6'6", 180, but this dude can shoot the ball like crazy. I think that's what's going to take him to the next level. And for sure, Jalen has definitely put in so much work into his game, where I think at this point, you really have to just agree with him that this dude, in my opinion, is going to be a star in the future. I just see, and I think at Houston, he for sure is going to perform very well. And I definitely don't think this dude is too cocky. Again, you have to have this type of mindset, and you've seen plenty of people, man, even guys who didn't even get drafted, that they felt like they were the best player every time they stepped on the court. And that's the type of mindset you gotta have. You gotta have that killer mentality, that Mamba mentality, which clearly he was even talking about Kobe at this point. Now, on the other hand, I have to talk about BJ Boston. Of course, BJ Boston really being one of the most impressive players in the draft as well, but a lot of people thought he would play better than what had actually happened. Now, of course, this dude playing at Kentucky really didn't have the best performance, and which was really holding him back in the long run. Now, with that being said, this dude just put out a brand new video of him getting some shots up, and he is looking very interesting. His jump shot honestly looks super smooth in my opinion, and definitely that was his selling point, him being one of the most highly recruited players, obviously coming out and then going to college and really not having that best performance, and he really didn't seem like he had the confidence in his game, and people even thought he should probably stay at Kentucky another year. Now, of course, let's take a look at this video. Now, in my opinion, his jump shot definitely looks pretty good, and I think he's starting to get that confidence back, which is what he's going to need if he wants to play in the NBA and really stay on a squad. Now, of course, he's going to Clippers and staying in LA, which is definitely going to be nice, but I think for sure he's going to have to grow a ton as a player if he really wants to stick on an NBA squad. Now, of course, he was definitely a really interesting player, because it's crazy how at one point in one level, just in high school, this dude's main focus of his game and really what he did best was shooting the basketball, and of course very athletic, and was playing against great competition at Sierra Canyon. But it's almost as if when he went to college, it seemed like he really wasn't the same player he was in high school. And of course, you're playing against better defenders, playing with better competition, so that can be a major factor as well. But he really just didn't seem like the same player that we had seen back in high school. And obviously with him getting in the gym so often, and of course everything happening with Terrence Clark as well, his friend who did pass away, who was actually drafted, in my opinion is going to give him a ton of motivation to be that player. If people continuously talk about you and basically state how they don't think you're that good or not as good as what you were projected to be, you're definitely going to have some type of chip on your shoulder. And for sure, if you have something that happens to a friend that is very tragic like this case, he's definitely going to be motivated to put on for Terrence Clark, really represent him and show that he's putting on, he can make it to the NBA and play with the best of them. And I honestly think if he continues to work on his game, he can be a solid player. But for sure, he has a ton of growth to do if he wants to be able to stay on a squad, because in college basketball, in my opinion, I just really didn't see it. There were very few times where we would see Brandon Boston, man, and this dude would turn it on, he would get buckets, but really to be that dominant scorer, man, we're gonna need to see a huge improvement from him. And for sure, I think he's taking the right steps. If he's getting in the gym, shooting the ball a lot, getting his jump shot right, making sure he has confidence, and also the mental aspect is another huge thing here. And everything that happened with Terrence Clark, I think these are all gonna add motivation factors for him to really come out on top and prove everyone wrong. Now, I think you guys know by now, I'm someone who actually looks at these players and loves the underdogs, man. The Kyrie Walkers, the Mac McClungs, and of course, low-key, in my opinion, BJ Boston right now is an underdog because he didn't perform that well in college. And man, it's great to see that these guys are still fighting for their dream if they're trying to get to the NBA and continuing to get buckets, continue to push forward despite what people continually criticize about their game and how they move. You guys know Kyrie Walker has been a hot topic for a little minute now, but there's a ton of interesting news. But man, I gotta talk about this next subject. If you guys didn't know, there's actually articles going around right now that at an AAU sports facility, there was actually quote unquote a shooting. Now this is crazy in my opinion, because that's not something you see every day, but I think it's starting to be a bigger issue in the game of basketball. Now apparently someone had pulled out a firearm, but there was no shots that were actually putting out there. But that's crazy to me. All these guys, these younger guys playing AAU, playing basketball, and something like this can happen at a facility, man, it really shows you have to move correctly at these facilities and make sure for sure you protect yours. And if something like that happens, man, that's crazy to me. Even if no shots were actually fired, but something like that happened and someone pulled one out, that's already crossing the line, is really insane to me. But I'm curious if you guys heard about this news as well, and you guys let me know in the comments down below. Again, what do you think about Jalen Green right now? Is he too cocky of a player? Personally, I don't think he is. I think that's the type of mentality you have to have in any sport, man. If it's going to be competitive, you're going up against other guys, you have to have that type of mindset. And on the other hand, what do you think about BJ Boston as well? This dude's jump shot is looking pretty good to me. I think he's improved somewhat. You guys let me know, am I gassing it up or did he actually improve? And lastly, what do you think about this sports facility incident? It was very interesting to me, and something like that should never happen. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications to get a new notification every time I upload a new video. And make sure you leave your video suggestions down below. I'm always taking a look at them. And if you guys noticed, I've been more active in the comment section. Leave me a comment down below. I'll make sure to respond to it. All right, Jalen, I'm out.